Must win Thursday night. Nick Bosa seems to think so. Niners, Seahawks. And you're an alien, okay? You come down to Earth this month, you're like, I need a baseball team to follow. How about these Metropolitans? All they do is win amazing games. That's up. And their fans know nothing but joy. I'm a Mets fan. That's what the alien says. Let's go around the horn. I mean, it's unbelievable. It's not even just, oh, we'll win like a 4-2 game. It's, oh, grand slam over here. Ninth inning comeback over there. We'll get to that in a second. Thursday night football, Niners at Seahawks. Earlier this week, Nick Bosa saying San Fran is treating it like a must-win. At 2-3, they're 14th in the conference right now. Seattle coming off a loss as well, a home loss to the Giants. And everybody banged up in this one. This is football. This is Kevin Clark. Around the horn to you, KC. Tonight is a must-blank.
For both teams, it's a must-make-a-statement game. Homer Simpson once said the two sweetest words in the English language were default. Someone is going to win this division by default because the Rams are too injured to compete. The Cardinals are a year away, and then you have two incomplete would-be contenders who are trying to figure out how to win right now. The Seattle Seahawks cannot rush the passer. They'll get some help back as far as injuries on the defense. Tonight, the San Francisco 49ers have some fatal flaws. Christian McCaffrey was their red zone offense, it seems, and it seems like he should have won the last two MVPs when you see how they operate without him. I see an incomplete, inconsistent Niners offense. This is normally a well-oiled machine. Brock Purdy is not completing passes like he used to. This is troubling for both of these teams, but I like the Seahawks tonight.
You like the Seahawks tonight? You seem to think their problems are easily fixable in a short week like tonight. I was about to laugh off because of the Homer Simpson line, but I asked for a must blank, which is a statement, and you said it's a must statement in a statement. You're not getting points for that. Go ahead. Emily Kaplan, please. Must blank tonight.
All right, the San Francisco 49ers must win 2 out of their next 3 games to get out of this hole. The only problem is the next 2 games are against the Chiefs and the Cowboys, so it doesn't get much easier than this. I feel like when we talk about Thursday night football, it's always so clunky, the football itself, because it's a short rest week. You know, it's a battle of attrition, which teams are banged up. And you look at the 49ers, they're so banged up. We've been talking about Christian McCaffrey. Is George Kittle going to practice or play? I mean, even their kicker is injured. That's how banged up they are. So I think for them, we just need to see some signs of progress, specifically on their defense. And I don't think it's going to be easy in this game because all of a sudden it's 5 weeks in the season and you look up and Geno Smith leads the entire league in passing yards. That's not an easy task.
Clinton Yates, tonight is a must blank.
To me, it is a must-win for the 49ers. And with all due respect to Eugene Cyril Smith III, the Seahawks simply did not have the expectations, I feel, that the 49ers have had for multiple seasons now. I mean, there is the question of proof of concept in general with this squad. And I know that the injuries have been an issue. I understand all of that, and they've been putting it together with Purdy. But hello, you've lost 3 games in a row, and everybody talks about this team as if they were supposed to be in the Super Bowl conversation, and they're not even close. So, yes, this is much bigger for the 49ers from an expectation standpoint, in my opinion. It's not particularly close.
They've lost 3 of 4, not 3 straight. Monica McNutt must blank tonight.
This is a must not give up a big lead in the second half game for the 49ers.
Okay, very wordy, but I like the ring of it, yeah.
I actually could stomach a loss as long as they don't give up points in the second half. Like in the last 2 halves, they've been outscored by teams by 24 points. The injuries are very real. Purdy has not been good with the football in terms of possessions and turnovers. Like all of the problems are real. But to me, when you have a veteran-led team like with Bosa making this statement, they've got to start to move in the right direction. They have gotten off to slow starts both in 2021 and 2022, and ultimately were able to rattle off enough games.
Right. There have been 3-game losing streaks. I think last year they had a bad month 2 years ago, and they still made runs in the postseason. Kevin Clark, you picked Seattle tonight. Talk to me about how you see that path to victory.
Well, they're 29th in pass rush win rate coming into this game. Boye Mafe comes back from injury. That's the guy to watch. He can win. He can improve that rate by himself. So that's the one injury to watch. As long as he plays, as long as he's full go, they're
So that's one for the Seahawks. Anybody else? Just yell it out, Emily. Yell it out, Clinton. Monica? No? Niners?
I like the Niners.
Niners.
And Monica gives a whelp. So give me this.
No, I think Niners get it, but I do think you got to point out McDonald's history when he was D-coordinator with the Ravens in terms of mucking up this Niners offense, and obviously they're injured. So maybe?
You're not getting points from me. You made a great point
fine.
about the McDonald's, and then you give us a maybe.
Okay,
You're
fine.
not getting points for that. Let's move on. All right, now to the baseball, and let's all sit out here for our AD Miriam Leger.
Door towards right center field.
Listen to the pop.
Grand slam. And
It's beyond comprehension how the last 3 weeks have gone for the Mets. Going on a half a dozen moments now that even the most die-hard fans and broadcasters who've covered this team for decades are calling the most amazing in franchise history. Like I said, they can't just win. They have to win in the most dramatic fashion. Lindor's grand slam to erase the Phillies. And yet still, or maybe but still, it's only the division series. Clinton Yates, how do you even begin to explain the New York Mets?
Well, I told you last week, Tone, when Frankie Lindor hit that bomb in Atlanta and just jogged around the bases in the top of the ninth like it was something he was expecting to do, I had a belief in this team that was very different. What Mendoza has done with this team has allowed them to be themselves. And what that is translated to is a team that doesn't get down when they strand a lot of runners. And normally, in the playoff situations, particularly the Phillies have done this, you see teams that get guys on, they squander chances. Next thing you know, guys are first pitch hacking, and they can't get anything straight. The Mets are not doing that. They have belief in themselves all throughout games, even when they have squandered opportunities. That is what playoff composure is about. And for a first-year manager to come in and have that team doing that is beyond impressive. It was also really cool, just as a baseball fan, for that to happen at home in the last game. It's a really cool experience.
You could feel it. You just feel it. Emily Kaplan, what are you feeling about these New York Mets?
I feel like sometimes when a team begins with such incompetence, and they began the season 0-5 and had that horrible stretch in May, losing 15 of 19, they bond and then become a better team because of it. And this is a team that, as Clinton said, is just everyone is contributing at the right times. Now, we're a very young panel, so I feel like it's almost my obligation to be their curmudgeon, like pretend I'm Frank Isola. I kind of cringe. I understand OMG is the rallying cry, but then for Lindor to hit that grand slam and then go to the dugout and immediately take a photo with the OMG sign, like, come on. At the same time, who am I to gatekeep this team and this fan base's
who are
joy?
you? Well, you
It's
just kind of did.
cathartic,
It should be said,
considering everything
Lindor,
I've
his
been
home
through.
run trot is very businesslike.
Maybe.
He
But
went
then
on the
maybe.
mound when Diaz was scuffling a little bit, just like, hey, focus. He keeps it at an even keel. But I see what you're doing here. Kevin Clark, I'll bring you in here. How do you even begin to explain the New York Mets?
This is a new franchise. I think we got so accustomed over at least the past decade to when the Mets were left for dead, leaving them there and not having to worry about them. They're now 4-0 these playoffs when the other team scores first. Last night we saw they were 2 of 11 with runners in scoring position before this. They were 0 for 4 with the bases loaded, and all of a sudden one swing of the bat changes that game. They believe. We should believe too. This is a new franchise, and I think that all of the ghosts, the demons are being exercised now.
And Monica McNutt.
Well, if Frank was here, I would say cranky Frank, but I'm going to go to emo Emily. Like, let these guys play with all the joy of what they've been able to accomplish this season. You're spot on in terms of them being able to navigate a horrific May, but when you look at what they were able to do last night, I mean, they left, 8 guys on bases after the 5th innings? Like, to me, a team that is able to buckle down when things get tight and perform, like, there's a liberty and a freedom in that, and that's what they're playing with the utmost confidence.
Philosophical when you say it like that. Clinton, I want to bring you back in here. Emily doesn't love the celebration. You've heard a lot. This is the greatest moment ever. This franchise won one of the great World Series ever in there. It's not ancient history, but in some people's lifetime, this is only the division series at this moment. How does it strike you?
I think for me, what Lindor has done to bring hope back to this team is super important. People look at it as him just taking a payday for a franchise that folks thought was unserious on some level. Those 2 teams played in London earlier this year, and one of them looked like a joke. Lindor's leadership as a literal dude, I think, has been remarkable. This guy's really...
He has gone to a World Series before with
career.
Cleveland, and they lost, of course, in the most heartbreaking way in 7 games many years ago. Nemo, and also Iglesias, these real soul of the team players. Incredible to see it all come together. On the other side, there's a question I want to ask about the Phillies. The way they went out. This is a team that lived on grit, and then they went gritless over this series and even the end of last postseason. I want to ask about the playoff format in baseball. Top seeds who work for that over 6 months get a week off, and after that, well, it appears a lot of them come out flat. Nick Castellanos, after the game, he did speak glowingly about the Mets for over a minute. I think that needs to be said. But then he asked, do I think they're a better team than us? No. But this series, they were. Emily, did Philly have a team problem this series, or does baseball have a playoff format problem?
I don't think it's a baseball format problem. I think it goes back to my point with the Mets. It's like not always the best team that wins a World Series. It's just who gets hot at the right time. And unfortunately for the Phillies, their bullpen was their bread and butter all season. And then in the series, they pitch an 11.37 ERA. It's just they got cold at the wrong time and it burned them. They're still a good team.
Kevin, do you see something, a problem here in the playoff format?
Yeah. I hate the baseball playoff format. I think that there are teams who should have the national attention and their season is over before we even know the playoffs begin. I didn't even know the Orioles playoffs had started, and all of a sudden I'm seeing David Rubenstein saying, wait till next year in the parking lot. It took 2 days and they were eliminated. I just think baseball's problem right now is they cannot generate superstars, and that is October. And right now you're seeing teams go out really quickly. The bye, I think, has really hurt these teams. The fact that the Phillies, who were so good in the regular season, go out so quickly, there's rust. I just don't like this whole
thing. All right,
thing.
you went big there. I can understand if you were answering solely from Philadelphia's perspective, or maybe the Dodgers, or maybe the Yankees, or Cleveland. But there are stars in this postseason. There are incredible moments in this postseason. Would you not agree? This has been one of the greats of all time, Kevin.
The greats of all time. I mean, it's pretty early. Let's relax here. No, I think on a national scale, baseball is having trouble generating superstars, and the problem is October. That is the problem.
I say the great division series of all time in wild card rounds.
Okay.
Monica McNutt, does baseball have a playoff format problem, or was the Philly loss all on them?
Okay, so I'm putting the Philly loss all on the Phillies. I mean, the sound came out of their own locker room. Real Muto says, we weren't playing our best ball coming into the postseason. They had dropped 3 of the 4 series, right? And so he mentions hoping they could flip on a switch. And I personally don't believe in switches at all, personally, in sports, right? But I will say, I do think Kevin's onto something, because I was actually in the house with my husband, and he's like, I feel like baseball used to be way more popular when we were younger because of the star-driven nature of it. So I do think Kevin is onto something.
Look at the newlywed there. I was in the house with my husband. Love it. Clinton Yates, how about you?
Yeah, what are we doing here, Kevin? If you allowed teams to pick whether or not they wanted to play in a series first or skip to the second round, every single team is picking to go to the second round, regardless of what the results happen to be in that particular situation. So I'm not complaining about the format in that situation. The Phillies, however, are trending poorly. Ever since they made the World Series, they have gotten to lesser degrees of the playoffs each time, and that's the kind of situation with the makeup of their roster. I hate to call for guys' jobs, but I would not be shocked if the Phillies made a change at the top with Rob Thompson. They have the talent. They just haven't gotten it done. And that, for a team like that, with a fan base like that, is a shame.
Real Muto.
Real
Muto. No. That's how we do it on this show, too. We'll take a break around the horn. Myers, till next. Tigers, Guardians in 1 hour. Yankees, Royals, first pitch a bit after that. We got potential closeouts or possible staving here tonight. Clinton, who should feel best about their chances today?
To me, it's the Tigers. A.J. Hinch gets a bad rap because of what happened with the Astros, but this guy can manage. He is pressing buttons left and right, swimming circles around Vogt and the Guardians. I love the way he's put this together from an opener standpoint. He's doing it by strategy design and not by requirement of injury. That dude is a smart skipper.
I appreciate anybody who's pushing buttons left and right. Here we go. Emily Kaplan, who should feel best about themselves today?
Yeah, Monica accused me of being emo, but following this Tigers team is the complete opposite. They're the youngest average team in baseball, considering we're all so young. They're scrappy, as Clinton mentioned, A.J. Hinch, but also they're playing in Detroit, which has been such a vibe and a home field advantage. I like them to advance tonight.
Kevin, I know you despise this postseason. Everything about it's been snooze fest for you. Please go ahead.
All right, it's the Yankees. I think they understand the urgency of not playing a Game 5 in Yankee Stadium against the Royals ace. I think Garrett Cole gets it done. And also, last night, this is why you stack talent like this. Giancarlo Stanton, 3 of 5, obviously gets a game-winning homer. Everybody else in the lineup, 1 for 25. You get 4 hits, but all it takes is one player. That's why you sign a Giancarlo Stanton. That's why you have all these big boppers in the middle of the lineup.
The Yankees, okay. There's been some shake in them right now. Monica McNutt, to you, who would you rather be today?
Man, I always want to be at home in front of my fans, so I'm looking at the Tigers for this one. I mean, and not to mention, they've kept the Guardians from scoring over the course of like 20 innings. So they are locked in and playing good baseball. I think the Detroit Tigers
Have we decided, have we found that? Is it Rally Tigs or Rally Tigers? With the
Tigers.
Rally Tigers, yeah, but I like Tigs too. I mean, that
Yes.
could work.
Tigs aren't bad.
Lynx Liberty game 1 tonight. Mini straight from Beatty, Connecticut. They're jumping on a plane. They go to the finals to play New York. The 2 best teams in the regular season. Minnesota took 3 of 4, including the Commissioner's Cup. Does that give them the advantage going in? And who or what is the X factor in this series? Around the horn, Monica McNutt.
All right, so X factors in this series. I'm looking at Jonquel Jones for the New York Liberty. She's averaging 13 and 8 in the postseason. But if she's playing good ball, she's going to put so much pressure on this Minnesota Lynx defense that was ranked 2nd in the league during the course of the regular season. This is a terrific defensive unit. On the other side, for the Lynx, Courtney Williams is having a fantastic postseason run.
He always does.
17 points on 54% shooting as a guard, like a mid-range menace as a guard. Those are my 2 X factors. I do think that Minnesota probably drops game 1 just because they played on Tuesday night.
Clinton Yates, X factor.
I'll throw out, let's say, Courtney Vandersloot. She's won a ring before. She's a player that comes off the bench and bolsters that second line. I mean, look, there's so many players you can name in this, and it's the finals at this point, but somebody who's not thinking of,
She's been coming off the bench lately. Emily Kaplan, X factor.
You said what? And I don't think there's a greater motivator in sports than getting that close to your ultimate goal and then watching someone else walk away with a championship. I mean, we saw it with the Celtics getting so close all those years. The Florida Panthers made the Stanley Cup final before they won. Every time I read about the New York Liberty all season, they've talked about that series against the Aces. They exercised those demons last round, but I think it still motivates them. They're women on
So the X factor is a feeling. How emo Emily from you. And Kevin Clark, how about you?
Tony Reale, I love this WNBA playoff format. It generates superstars, and one of them is Leonie Theobich from the New York Liberty.
You've been watching,
the
yes.
Best 84% effective field goal percentage, as the best in this postseason. She has the best plus-minus of any rookie in postseason history, and when she is on the floor, the Liberty are plus 30. That is unbelievable. She's the X factor.
Preview extravaganza. Make your pick, Monica.
I do think the Liberty are going to get this done, but I think it goes
Lynn
5.
Yates,
Liberty, likewise.
Emily Kaplan,
I'll happily pick New York.
Liberty, 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 and Kevin Clark.
Clean sweep.
All right, they did Liberty, 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 Liberty. I hope they're sponsoring our show today. All right, I know they are. Emily Kaplan, emo Emily, Fallout Girl, and Kevin Clark. There you go as well. Clinton Yates, Monica McNutt. That's our showdown next.
Around the Horn is presented by the refreshing taste of Twisted Tea Hard Iced Tea. Please drink responsibly. Part of Happy Hour.
Monica McNutt, Clinton Yates, good luck in the showdown. Off day for Padres Dodgers. Tomorrow, winner take all game 5 in Los Angeles. How the Dodgers got their best game from a bullpen game. 8 pitchers throwing a shutout for just the second time in baseball playoff history. And how the bats awoke, and maybe how San Diego misplayed Dylan Cease some short rest. Clinton, you were there. You just came back on the train. Barnstorming on the train. Did the Dodgers show you something last night?
They did, but I think Mike Schilt messed this up by starting Dylan Cease. When they came in, and when he came into the room afterwards, he talked about that, and everybody was wondering, well, you've got short rest. He doesn't make a good matchup for the Dodgers. Dave, on the other hand, went immediately with the bullpen game. He got outmanaged, Schilt did, and it worked out for the Dodgers.
Monica McNutt?
Well, I'm going to try to channel my inner Bill Plaschke, who I think might say the bullpen was fantastic, so keep it rolling. Stay with them. It was a well-managed game. It was a big-time performance, so stay with the bullpen. They didn't give up score in 12 of the last inning, so they're looking good.
I saw Bill
I don't
last
think
night,
you nailed
by
the Plaschke impression, honestly, Monica.
I
I think
didn't?
you
All
got some
right,
work
my
to
bad.
do there. Clinton, was there stogie in your fingers, and was there a hat that said press when you were on the train coming back from San Diego to LA? Who you got in Game 5, Clinton?
I'll take the Dodgers at home.
Rafa Nadal retiring at the end of the year is Showdown 2. His goodbye video was emotional, it was powerful, it was gorgeous, just like him. Monica, when it's all said and done, where do you rank him alongside, of course, Federer and Djokovic, and all of tennis's greats?
He's got to be up there right next to those guys, Tony. I mean, he won a major for 10 straight years to start his career. I mean, he's won 4 majors without dropping a set. Like, I think to me, when you talk about all 3 of those guys, Nadal in particular, the longevity and the sustained greatness, he's got to be one of tennis greats.
Clinton Yates, how will you remember Rafa?
The tennis is arguably great from all 3 of those guys, but Rafa was just the most likable human being, in my personal opinion, in terms of how he played the game and his personality. The things he did for the biceps and, ponytail communities are tremendous. I love Rafa. That guy's a fun dude.
The things he did for one huge left bicep and the other very big but normal-sized right foot. He may, you can pick Djokovic if you want, you can pick Federer, but I think you're onto something. He may be loved more or liked more because he was so emotional. Take the FaceTime,
Last night we saw images of Tropicana Field in Tampa with its roof blown off. Some of the scariest stuff that we've seen in these last couple of weeks in which Hurricanes Helene and Milton have been destroying parts of this country. That was being used as a staging area with cots and everything for first responders. I just want to say, for all of those who are in situations in which you are facing this kind of weather, please save yourself. Safety first. That's what matters. Make it out alive, y'all.
23th hour break. See you tomorrow around the horn.